Some films leave behind polished reels, documented edits, and tidy archival records. And then there are the others, the endings that slipped through the cracks, shown briefly to a select few before dissolving into silence. Hidden deep within Hollywood's forgotten vaults is a stranger category of cinematic ghost, final scenes that were screened, confirmed by living witnesses, and yet erased so completely that studios now insist they never existed. These aren't ordinary deleted moments. They are endings that lived for a heartbeat, then vanished into the dark. What survives today are fragments of memory, test screening accounts, half-legible production notes, and the uneasy recollections of crew members who remember shooting something they can no longer find. Studio representatives deny everything. Archivists come up empty, and still, the stories persist. People describe scenes too specific, too consistent, too vivid to be dismissed as misremembered dreams. Across the history of science fiction cinema, these lost endings linger like drifting echoes. Some were rumored to overturn a film's meaning. Some hinted at worlds broader, stranger, or more unsettling than the studio felt comfortable releasing. Others introduced implications that executives likely chose to bury: abrupt tonal shifts, expanded mythologies, or revelations that would have changed how audiences understood the story. In this chapter of Vaulted Futures, we open a vault built from what's missing rather than what survived. These are the lost conclusions, the erased final moments, the endings that slipped between rumor and reality. What remains of them is only memory, and memory is often the last surviving evidence of what the archive failed to keep. Welcome to 15 sci-fi films with lost endings no studio can account for. 15 final scenes that disappear. 15 cinematic ghosts whose existence is both denied and remembered. 1. AI, Artificial Intelligence, 2001. The official ending leans bittersweet, but some early viewers claim a colder, more clinical conclusion existed. In this lost ending, after David lies beside the recreated Monica, the camera moves outward across the frozen landscape. Dozens of dormant mecha lie half-buried in ice, their faint blinking lights capturing the last recorded thoughts of machines. The advanced beings examining David were reportedly detached, discussing humanity as an extinct species and studying David with analytical precision rather than empathy. If real, this ending would shift the story from a tale of longing and hope to one emphasizing the end of human significance and the cold persistence of evolved intelligence. Occasional remarks from effects artists mention ice vault grids and buried mecha, keeping the rumor alive. No physical evidence remains. 2. Blade Runner 1982. Blade Runner has multiple endings, yet a rumored early cut shows Deckard leaving the cabin alone while snow falls around him. Witnesses recall metallic, reflective flakes dissolving in his hand and a sky flickering with grid lines, implying the world itself might be artificial or unstable. A distorted whisper, duration, expired, allegedly accompanies the scene. Ridley Scott denies this ending, though production notes reference reflective snowfall tests, and a VFX artist recalled constructing a sky grid composite. If authentic, this ending would have cast Deckard's reality into doubt, turning the film into a meditation on a collapsing or manipulated environment rather than solely a story about replicants. No footage survives, only memories of metallic snow falling across a fragile world. 3. 2001. A Space Odyssey, 1968. 2001 has long inspired speculation about a lost sequence following the Star Child's appearance. Early viewers claim the film extended into a surreal, chamber-like space that was neither spacecraft nor natural structure. Witnesses describe drifting, translucent forms, some resembling embryonic humans, others mechanical or hybrid, pulsing faintly with light. The final shot supposedly revealed a massive rotating structure in deep space, unlike any monolith seen in the final release. MGM and Kubrick's estate deny its existence, but sketches occasionally appear in private collections, showing geometric designs in Kubrick's unmistakable style. One former editor said, "There was a version that showed too much Kubrick-preferred mystery." If this lost ending existed, it may have revealed the unseen forces guiding humanity's evolution, answers deliberately removed to preserve the film's enigmatic power. 4. The Fly, 1986. Some early attendees claim a more disturbing ending existed for The Fly, extending the story beyond Brundlefly's death. In this version, Veronica survived, but began experiencing subtle, unnatural changes. She awoke in a hospital room, noticing small distortions in her reflection, her skin rippling, as if something moved beneath it. In the final shot described by witnesses, Veronica stood on a rooftop at dusk. Her shadow stretched across the ground, moving independently with insect-like twitching, before the screen cut to black. 20th Century Fox denies the scene ever existed, yet crew members remember rooftop pickups with Geena Davis that went unused. If real, this lost ending would suggest that the horror of Brundlefly's transformation did not end. It had quietly transferred to Veronica, leaving the final terror uncontained. 5. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 1977. The released ending of Close Encounters emphasizes awe and wonder, but some early viewers report a darker finale. In this lost version, after Neri enters the mothership, the ship's lights flickered irregularly, as if the craft struggled to maintain cohesion. The scene then allegedly cut to a star field in which individual stars extinguished one by one, abruptly disappearing rather than fading. The moment left audiences unsettled, hinting that extraterrestrial contact might have far-reaching, unpredictable consequences. Columbia Pictures denies the sequence, though production notes mention stellar disturbance plates, and an effects artist recalled experimenting with mechanical blackout grids. Multiple viewers described the same event independently. If it existed, this ending would have cast a shadow of ambiguity over the film's finale, suggesting the encounter was not entirely benevolent. 6. Altered States, 1980. A chilling rumor surrounds Altered States, an ending that pushed Jessup's transformations far beyond the theatrical cut. According to early test audiences, after his final regression, the screen plunged into complete darkness. Jessup's distorted voice echoed fragmented phrases, hinting at an evolution or de-evolution still in progress. Viewers recalled flickering embryonic forms, morphing rapidly between species, surrounding Jessup's shifting silhouette. The sequence was surreal, destabilizing, and entirely unlike the version that eventually appeared. Warner Brothers denies this footage existed, yet editing logs note an Evo Dev montage with a handwritten directive, "Do not reinstate." Effects artists later described creating transitional frames never released. If authentic, this ending would have redefined the film, transforming it from a psychological study to a direct confrontation with primordial evolution itself. Now, only faint recollections linger. 7. The Abyss, 1989. Although The Abyss has 2 known endings, early test audiences reported a third. In this version, the aliens revealed not a destroyed world, but one emptied of human life. Cities appeared abandoned, lights still on, machinery running but no people remain. The aliens reportedly explained to Bud, "This is not punishment, this is the future chosen in silence." The final orbit shot showed Earth segments darkened, eerily silent, before the alien ship ascended. Cameron denies this ending existed, yet effects artists remember creating composites of deserted streets and empty urban areas. Had it survived, the ending would shift the film's tone from hope to quiet, unsettling inevitability. All footage is now lost, leaving only whispered memories of a silent world. 8. Star Trek, the Motion Picture, 1979. The released ending depicts Decker merging with V'Ger and ascending peacefully, but according to early viewers, the original conclusion included a distorted, unnerving transmission received aboard the Enterprise. A faint voice, resembling Decker's, repeated fragmented phrases like "identity," "incomplete," accompanied by a flickering star that pulsed erratically. Paramount denies such material was filmed, but production notes reference an extended V'Ger epilogue. Sound engineers mentioned post-fusion anomalies, though nothing appears in the final release. Several preview viewers recalled nearly identical details of the lost ending. If this sequence existed, it would suggest V'Ger's evolution was unstable and incomplete, casting a shadow over the film's optimistic resolution. 9. Planet of the Apes, 1968. While the iconic finale shows Taylor collapsing before the ruined Statue of Liberty, eyewitnesses from early screenings remember an extended ending. The camera allegedly pulled back further, revealing fragments of an unfamiliar metallic monument half buried in the sand beside the ruin. The shapes were geometric, smooth, and alien, nothing from human or ape civilization. Taylor reportedly brushed away debris to reveal markings that hinted at a civilization predating humanity. Some believe these symbols suggested a technology far older than anyone knew. Others thought they might be relics of forces still present on Earth. Fox denies any such sequence ever existed. Yet a 16mm strip once surfaced, showing Taylor standing near a metallic arch unseen in the final cut. The film changed hands privately and disappeared. Crew accounts add ambiguity. Some remember strange reshoots with odd props. Others, a cosmic extension never finalized. If real, this ending would expand the story from a single revelation to a broader history of Earth, hinting at forces beyond human understanding. 10. THX 113-81971. The final escape of THX in THX 1138 is often viewed as liberation, yet a few early viewers insist the ending extended beyond what appears in the release. According to reports, after THX surfaces, the sky itself flickers unnaturally, revealing a grid pattern overlaying the horizon. A calm, clinical voice announces, "Surface simulation incomplete, reinitializing cycle." This eerie moment suggested that THX remained inside a layered artificial environment, a higher tier of control rather than true freedom. Lucasfilm denies shooting such material, though production notes mention sky grid projection tests. A VFX technician recalled filming plates with a flickering pattern, initially for calibration, though it may have been intended as narrative content. If this lost ending existed, it would have reframed the film's final moments, changing an apparent victory into a chilling illusion. No negatives, stills, or logs survive. Only memory preserves the possibility that THX's escape was never complete. 11. The Black Hole. 1979. Accounts from preview screenings suggest The Black Hole once concluded with a sequence far darker than the final release. After Reinhardt merges with Maximilian, the lost ending allegedly revealed a vast mechanical cathedral containing humanoid figures suspended in steel. These forms appeared frozen in motion, trapped in perpetual incompleteness. Production stills and concept art never included in the final cut show elongated figures fused into metallic structures. Though the studio denies any such footage was ever filmed, multiple effects artists recall working on miniatures for a cathedral dimension. Yet no official record confirms it. The missing scene reportedly implied that the singularity was more than a visual spectacle. It was a prison, consuming explorers over centuries. Viewers who saw this ending describe identical imagery despite attending different screenings. If it existed, the scene would have transformed the film from operatic sci-fi to pure cosmic horror, portraying humanity as trapped within a vast, indifferent machine. Only fragments of rumor and concept art remain. 12. Dark Star, 1974. Among the peculiar legends surrounding Dark Star, one of the most persistent is a lost ending that dramatically shifted the story's tone. Early test audiences claim the film once followed Talby as he drifted toward the Phoenix asteroid, only to discover the object itself was anomalous. His visor flickered with unrecognized coordinates, warning messages, and a flashing label. Unregistered object. The scene reportedly lingered on Talby as he processed the revelation that the mission had unknowingly entered uncharted territory. A faint, distorted transmission may have been heard, possibly Talby attempting to warn Doolittle before the signal abruptly cut. The camera then reportedly returned to Doolittle, extending his descent, as he whispered a cryptic line suggesting that the truth of the mission exceeded their understanding. John Carpenter and the studio deny the sequence ever existed, yet production stills hint at filming angles not seen in the released version. An early editing log reads, "Remove all traces. The handwriting's origin unknown." If real, this ending would have recast the film from absurdist comedy to cosmic unease, emphasizing the unpredictability and danger of the mission far beyond what the theatrical cut conveys. 13. Silent Running, 1972. For decades, persistent testimonies have described an epilogue to Silent Running that no longer exists in any archive. According to those who swear they saw it, the film once ended with a recorded message from Lowell, a somber reflection questioning whether humanity was worthy of the last surviving forest he fought to protect. The missing ending then shifted to Drone 2, Attendees recall the robot pausing its routine, gently touching Lowell's discarded tools, lingering in a way that seemed almost mournful. The final shot reportedly showed the biodome adrift in the emptiness of space while faint, broken static, possibly Lowell's last transmission, whispered beneath the score. Though Universal denies such footage ever reached completion, early script notes reference both a farewell recording and a drone behavioral closure scene, mysteriously checked off in production margins before vanishing from later drafts. If the lost ending truly existed, it would have transformed the film's final emotion, turning its quiet hope into a bittersweet meditation on isolation, memory, and the fragility of what remains. The scene has left no physical trace, yet its story resurfaces again and again, as though the memory itself refuses to drift away. 14. Logan's Run, 1966. A number of people who attended early work print screenings insist that Logan's Run once featured a much broader conclusion, one that expanded the film's world rather than closing it. In this rumored ending, Logan and Jessica explored a hidden annex of the domed city, a silent, unlit chamber filled with dormant machinery, and what looked like a secondary AI hub. Witnesses recall Logan activating a control interface that flickered for only a moment, revealing indecipherable symbols and the phrase, "Node remains online." The implication was unnerving. The system they believed destroyed was merely one part of a far larger network, still functioning somewhere beyond their understanding. MGM denies the existence of this material, insisting that no additional dome interiors were constructed. But several privately held behind-the-scenes photographs, whose authenticity remains unverified, show Michael York standing beside a circular console, not present in the released film. Had this lost ending survived, it would have reframed Logan's escape as the beginning of a revelation rather than freedom itself, hinting that humanity's confinement extended far past the boundaries of the city the characters fled. 15. The Andromeda Strain, 1971. Among the earliest whispers of vanished endings in sci-fi is a sequence said to have appeared in initial preview screenings of The Andromeda Strain. According to attendees, the film once concluded not with relief, but with a chilling revelation, evidence that the extraterrestrial organism had already breached the facility long before alarms were triggered. The lost scene supposedly followed Dr. Stone as he examined unusual bio-readings in a stark, glowing corridor. The camera drifted over abandoned monitoring consoles and discarded sterile equipment, ending on a soft, pulsing hazard light that hinted the outbreak was quietly expanding. None of these images appear in any official cut. Universal Studios denies the sequence was ever completed, yet early production paperwork makes note of a post-contamination corridor sequence marked as fully shot. Even Otter, a former crew member, recalled operating a dolly for an extended white hallway pass that he never saw in the final edit. If this ending did exist, it would shift the film's mood entirely from the triumph of containment to the unsettling notion that the crisis was already underway, unseen and unstoppable. With no reels, no stills, and no surviving logs, the truth now lives only in overlapping memories that refuse to fade. Bonus: The Twilight Zone, the movie, 1983. Among all whispered tales of lost endings, none is discussed more cautiously than the alleged finale that tied together all segments of The Twilight Zone, the movie. Unlike the released anthology, this missing conclusion reportedly suggested that the stories were interconnected, with each narrative bleeding into the next in a subtle, unnerving way. Early post-production staff claim that in the lost ending, the damaged plane from the final segment opens its doors to rescuers, only for them to find unusual objects scattered across the cabin floor. A child's drawing from one story, a cornfield toy from another, a discarded hospital bracelet, all appearing simultaneously. The effect implied that the boundaries between the stories were collapsing, creating a shared dimension of overlapping realities. Some witnesses describe quick flashes of the other segment's settings, each showing a minor anomaly, a figure appearing where it shouldn't, a door slightly ajar, or a flicker of a ghostly presence. The montage ended abruptly, leaving a lingering sense that these tales were connected in a way no viewer could fully comprehend. Warner Brothers denies that such an ending ever existed. Editors have no record of assembling it, yet a surviving memo from an early cut now missing from the archive bore the note, "Final convergence. Integrate segment artifacts." If it ever existed, this ending would have transformed the anthology from 4 isolated narratives into a cohesive, interwoven dimension on the brink of collapse, a twilight zone where no story remains independent. The endings in this archive may have existed for a brief moment, only to vanish without trace. Some were lost by accident, others removed deliberately, but each missing scene casts a shadow over the films they once completed. Their absence is a presence of its own, a haunting reminder that what is gone can be more powerful than what survives. Even if these endings were glimpsed for only a few moments, they left echoes strong enough to persist across decades, long after reels were discarded and studios denied their existence. Memory has become the last witness, the final archive of what the official record refuses to acknowledge. This vault is now closed, but countless others await. Somewhere, hidden reels and erased sequences linger, waiting for the light of discovery. The next file remains locked, just beyond reach, but one day, we may unlock it together.